Welcome to Sound Bites. I'm your host, Jennifer Chandler, and I'm here with the one and only Kat Gordon, the owner of Muddy's Bake Shop. And before we get into our conversation about her beloved Memphis bakery, I have to tell you that we have a big surprise for you. At the end of our conversation, we will share some exciting news. One hint, it's a unique opportunity to feel like a restaurant insider. Sound Bites is the Daily Memphian's weekly food, drink, and dining podcast. You can tune in on WYXR Radio every Thursday at 11, or listen wherever you get your podcast, iTunes or Spotify, or listen at dailymemphian.com. If you are listening on WYXR, up next you can listen to Sidebar with Eric Barnes. But let's get started talking about sweet treats. Kat Gordon, thank you for being here on Sound Bites and inviting us to your bakery.
I am so thrilled to be here. I have been excited about this all day.
That's awesome. So have I. I mean, we are sitting actually in the cooking classroom of her bakery, but we got to go through the bakery on the way here. And I mean, the smell of sweets and baked goods, it's just, this is the happiest place on earth.
Hot carbs. That's the love language.
So I have to tell you, I have the best memory of how I met you. And you may not remember this because our history goes way back. We were kind of talking about this a minute ago about, how long we've known each other. And I can't remember how long ago this was, and you might, because this kind of has to do with your business. But years ago, you and I were on a committee for a MIFA fundraiser, and you came hopping into the meeting one day with a box of mini cupcakes, and you said to everyone, I'm going to open a bakery and I'm going to sell just cupcakes. Do you remember that?
I remember that meeting. I cannot believe how long ago that was.
It was a long time ago.
It was a really long time ago.
Because what year did Muddy's Bake Shop open?
08.
08.
So that had to be 07, maybe?
It was a while.
Wow.
And I have to admit, I was sitting there and I think there were mini cupcakes, if I remember correctly, because I think I had more than one. And I was like, these are great cupcakes. And I remember thinking, gosh, she's just going to open a cupcake bakery? How is anyone going to make a living off of just selling cupcakes? And fast forward all these years later, and Muddy's Bake Shop is like, such a beloved place. And you still have those amazing cupcakes, which we'll get into in a minute. And you have a lot more that you offer now, too.
I do. And if it makes you feel any better, I don't know that I have ever eaten just one mini cupcake. Like in my life. I'm not sure anyone has. That is the beauty of a mini cupcake, is that you can you just eat it and you just ball up that little piece of paper and put it in your pocket. And then you have a mini cupcake again.
Yes. Because I think that 3-4 mini cupcakes make one cupcake?
Oh, something like that. I mean, and then you can switch up flavors. So yeah, this is a friendly zone here. I routinely, I think, at least 2, more like 3 per serving.
Let's go into your name real quick. Muddy's Bake Shop. I think I know the story about this. So who was Muddy?
Muddy was my maternal grandmother. So mother's mother. And I mean, her whole thing was, her love language truly was food. So I think that is the most important thing to remember. And, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble here. I think sometimes it's easy to hear, a bakery named after your grandmother. How precious is that? She must have taught you to bake. You probably picture this like sweet grandmotherly lady. Record scratch. I mean, she was fabulous. I did not get the benefit of knowing her. She passed away when I was really young. But all of the stories around her, I mean, bossy boss lady, like knew what she wanted, would go for it, hard worker, lived hard, partied hard. But, while she wasn't the kind of person to like snuggle to tell you she loved you, she cooked for you. So that was how you knew you were on her list of people she cared about. And she was constantly cooking and baking after work. She had a full-time job. Would come home and cook and bake for people she cared about, and just always taking stuff, to a neighbor who had a baby, somebody in the hospital. And that's the best part of baking. I mean, I'm a home baker at heart. That's how I started. And that's what you're doing. You make something and you want to share it with other people that you care about. So it just seemed a perfect tribute, and a good reminder for me. As it turns out, the business has lasted a lot longer than, anyone thought, including me. And it's a constant reminder of what the point is. sharing it.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. And I have to tell you, when someone shows up at my house with a bag from Muddy's, I am very grateful. And
Don't you feel loved?
I do feel loved. And I have given it as gifts many times myself. So let's talk about your cupcakes. You do there's a lot of love that goes into those cupcakes because they're super moist and tender, and then your icing. Can you share any tricks or tips, or what do you think makes yours so good?
Butter.
I
mean, butter makes everything better. We do use lots and lots of butter, but really, I think, it might not be a glamorous answer, but it's just doing the stuff that we all know that we should do, but would be easy to cut some corners. So, in terms of how we think about menu items, whether it's, old favorites, we're thinking about new things, we're really guided by what are the full flavors and how do we let the ingredients speak for themselves. We try to stay away from gimmicks. So it's not going to be like, ooh, the death by chocolate, here's a cupcake that weighs 6 pounds. Can you eat it all? Instead, we're just looking at great, what's the best butter we can get? What's the best chocolate we can get? We're going to use the very best eggs we can get, get those orange yolks, chickens that have been fed all sorts of good stuff, and then baking it fresh, which, I know you've worked in the industry as well. That's one of those things that can be very challenging that, if you haven't seen behind the scenes, you might not even know how common it is for places to be, working from a mix, freezing a whole lot, just relying on some things. So we just really try to focus on making things. I mean, again, that home baker thing, we're actually not making things that differently from, how people are making things at home and how generations before us have been making things at home. We just do it in slightly larger batches, and we do it every day.
Which is a good thing.
Yes.
And those cupcakes we'll go back to for just 1 second. They're available in a regular size cupcake and the mini size cupcakes. And the mini, I love the little packs that you do where you get to try all the different flavors, and it's like a mixture. It's kind of like my go-to when I'm having a dinner party and I'm not baking something myself, because it's super easy and everybody gets to pick something and it's fun. But what are your most popular flavors? I mean, I'm a chocolate girl, so that Prozac chocolate.
I was going to say, you already know the favorite. The Prozac is, sometimes I joke, this is the house that Prozac built. I think, since opening, so 16 plus years now, Prozac has been hands down the most beloved among our customers and community.
I also love, again, this is going to show that I'm a chocolate girl, but because it's the chocolate cake, the grasshopper with the mint chocolate chip. And the Tomboy, is that named after someone you know?
That is just a little reference. Yeah, my husband's name is Thomas. And the chocolate peanut butter is definitely a favorite of his. It's also a favorite combination of my younger brothers. I feel like all the boys in my life just really love that chocolate peanut butter. And yeah, that one's been probably a top 10 for many years now.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I've had it as a birthday cake before.
So tasty.
So, over the years, you've expanded beyond just cupcakes and have a lot of different things on the menu. So can you tell us what are, when someone comes into your bake shop, what else can they find?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm always blown away by how many things we make, actually. We, of course, make the cupcakes, and most of our cupcakes are also available as whole cakes. We have, at this point, gotten to a place where I think, we're pretty organized enough. Most days you can come in and actually get a whole cake if you need one. It is going to be limited flavors. We are making in small batches. We're making fresh. So we're not just going to run back to the proverbial freezer to pull something out. But there'll be the cupcakes, the cakes. We have become really famous over the years for our pies, which I'm just so incredibly proud of. That pie crust is so marvelous. We use an all butter, so no shortening in our crust, but it is still incredibly flaky. It's flavorful. And we are still making those. We make those in relatively small batches, sheeting each one out. We are hand crimping every single one right here in the bakery. They're delicious.
I have to give a shout out because I went to a friend's house for dinner this past weekend, and am I getting the name right? The Jumbleberry pie. And she warmed it up. We had it with vanilla ice cream. It was so good. They gave me a giant slice to take home. It's really good for breakfast cold. We'll just say.
It's basically like a bowl of fruit with granola.
Exactly.
Is how I'm going to say that.
So what's in that one? Because this is your pie for the month of, it was the pie for the month of July.
Yes.
Will it be available in
All
August
those summer
still?
berries. It just kind of depends on the produce. So yeah, jumbleberry we'll be making as long as we're getting those really good blueberries, strawberries, blackberries. Strawberries are tailing off in terms. So it's like, we'll probably make it a little bit into August, actually. But then, once the weather starts cooling off a little bit, we'll be changing up again. And then some of the pies can also we have a take and bake area as well. So some items we have assembled and can be baked in your home, which we have just heard wonderful things about. Again, I think as folks are having people over, wanting to have people over more, making that easy. And then even some savory pies. So our chicken pot pie the last few years has just really been the sleeper hit. I had no idea when we launched it. Funnily enough, the chicken pot pie I developed in 2019 and we launched it in 2020, right at the beginning. And then it was like, it's been one of the top 5 menu items ever since, which is so funny. But then, cookies, cookie dough, all sorts of things. And then the shop, we also have baking supplies and some nice ingredients. We've been expanding that selection as well as once we opened the teaching classroom, we really found that there was a demand. People come in, they learn how to make something and then they want to make it at home and want to make sure that they have the things that they need to make it at home. So that's been really fun too.
Yeah, let's kind of shift to that because we're sitting right now in the cooking classroom. And that is something that you, what year did this open, the classroom?
You came to one of the first classes. That was right around Halloween 2021, I think. Because we made the scones.
I did. They were oh my gosh. If you have not had, when you talk about savory things, the muddy scones are just, again, I've made them. I watched the class and this is the best recipe ever because they are the most flavorful but tender. Sometimes scones can be kind of dry and like a brick.
Yeah.
These are nothing like that at all. They are just...
It's like you don't want it to be cake. You still want it to be a scone and kind of crumbly, but not like a hocky puck.
Butter,
too much.
butter. I think that's probably the key
butter.
for there.
When in doubt, butter.
So tell us about the classroom because, again, if you are a Muddy's fan and you want to be able to make some of these things at home, this is the perfect place to come. Plus, it's great. I did it with a bunch of girlfriends when we came and did it. I think there were 4 of us.
Yeah.
And we took over a little corner. Everyone else probably didn't we had so much fun.
Well, that's what's great, though, is I think everybody does have fun, and classes are typically pretty small. I think the smallest we do are about 6 people, and then the largest are around 12. So really, I feel like it's something, how often do you get to get in the kitchen with a group of people? That's not how we cook at home unless we're routinely having cooking parties. But that's actually part of the magic, I think, of the classes. I would love to say it's all, it's great recipes and totally fabulous teacher. But I do think a lot of the energy is from if you get 6 to 12 people in a room together for 3 hours, each of whom has committed to trying something new and learning something new, whether they know each other or not. Every single one of those people is going to have a great time. And every single one of those people is going to have something to learn and something to offer. And I think that's the real magic of those classes is just, I learn. I'm usually the teacher and I learn all the time from the students that come to these classes. There's just something magic that happens when you get a bunch of people together in the kitchen.
Well, I think it's a special thing. And it's one of those things I was thinking about today that there are not many... for the average person, there are cooking schools you can go to if you're wanting to be a professional. But I'm trying to think right now. I think you may be the only cooking school that's open for the general public right now. I may be wrong. There might be somebody else, or U of M may have some classes here and there in some of their facilities. But
U of M has a fantastic facility. I've been there. I'm not sure, though, that they're still offering external classes. Church Health, I was thinking Church Health, too. They do a few classes. But, I really, because we used to have, I feel like we used to have some stuff.
We had more cooking schools way back when, thanks to that was one of those things that were a pandemic leftover that we're all not happy with, that a lot of the cooking schools closed during that time.
And it's a hard thing to meet, because I think sometimes I remember when I was getting input, from other people. This is the great thing about food people. Food people will actually talk shop and like share all sorts of things with you. So I got lots of people's advice when I was getting started, and there was a wide range. I mean, a lot of people who had done cooking classes, whatever, saying like, keep them light, don't overwhelm people with information. Like people just want to come like do a bachelorette party or something, have fun. And then you have the other spectrum of like, oh, are you training America's future chefs? And I do think that we have really, I'm just going to toot my own horn, done a nice job of having classes be beginner friendly, but really sharing a lot of information. I mean, there's a lot that we pack in to those 3 hours. We're not training the next chefs, but I think we do want to make sure.
Next home chefs.
Exactly. We'll make sure you have the information that you need. So, it's a tough balance to strike, but I think we've kind of figured it out.
You're listening to the Daily Memphian Sound Bites with me, Jennifer Chandler. Today, we're talking with Muddy's Bake Shop owner, Kat Gordon, about her bakery. If you're tuning in on WYXR, keep listening to the Sidebar with Eric Barnes after this. If you're listening through your podcast app, be sure to subscribe. You can also find our other Daily Memphian podcast, The Sidebar with Eric Barnes about art, culture, and more, Grizzlies Pod with Drew Hill and Chris Harrington, Behind the Headlines Podcast Edition, On the Record, an occasional political podcast with Daily Memphian legend Bill Dries. So Muddy's has changed over the years. And, one of the things that I've always admired, you've been very open about your decisions on the path that your business has gone. And it's very inspirational, for both your customer and for somebody that's been in the food industry to have you share the ups and downs and the not so sweet things about opening a bakery. But I think that you have landed, listening to your heart, you've landed in your happy place and where you're supposed to be, because it's fun to see how your business is thriving right now in its new single location. So would you like to speak a little bit about that?
Yes, I would love to. In many ways, I think the bakery has grown up with me. I was 26 when I started Muddy's, which, I realized there are many very mature 26-year-olds. I was not a 26 who knew exactly who I was or what I wanted. So I do think a lot of the evolution of the business has happened concurrently with my growing up and, kind of figuring out who I am, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, all of those things. And I'm just so full of appreciation. Muddy's has always been, it has been my project, but it has also been, it feels like it belongs to this community. And I appreciate so much that this community has given me the room to try some things out and change course a few times. I really don't think that many businesses can make that claim. And I can't take credit for it. I think that it really is the nature of the community that we have here in Memphis. Muddy started as a single location, a teeny little tiny spot in Sanderland Center, actually only a few doors down from where your old business used to be, Chefy's, the market. Over the years grew, added, so just like the quick timeline, we actually had an offsite kitchen that opened in 2009 on Cooper that very few people know ever existed. And we quickly outgrew that, and in 2012, built out this kitchen here at Broad Avenue. And it was not open to the public, but it is wild to think, that we moved in 2012. So it has been over 12 years now that we've actually been here on Broad Avenue. And then in 2014, opened a second retail location on Cooper, a different address than the earlier kitchen on Cooper, and did that for 5 years, I think. So for a while, for 5 years, I was actually running 3 separate work locations, 2 of which were open to the public. And at our biggest, the team was about 60 people strong.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. And the great thing is, like, I would not trade those years for anything. I learned so much. I got to work with so many marvelous people. I got to meet so many marvelous customers. I cannot imagine what my life would be if I didn't have that experience. And that does not mean that I need to be married to it for forever. I think the challenge a lot of us small business people make is we often think of our businesses as our babies. And I think it was a very powerful lesson for me to step back and actually realize, okay, I have 3 business locations. I don't have 3 babies. It's frowned upon to just give those babies back. But if this isn't what's working for me or for my team, or doesn't really fit the vision, honestly, that I originally had for the bakery, which was to be a community, neighborhood, unique place, well, change it. And it just worked out great, too, that the space that we're sitting in here right now, the classroom, for years and years, this was Collage Dance Studio. So Muddy's Kitchen was up in the front of the building, and then the dance studio was in the back. And the dance studio built a beautiful space further down at Sam Cooper and Tillman. And my landlord asked if we wanted to have this space. So it just, pandemic, growth of the business, soul searching, it all really coalesced into this one fantastic opportunity to truly bring it under one roof and still do all of the really exciting creative things that I and the team wanted to do.
Yeah, I think it's such a beautiful story about listening to your heart. And I think when you do that, you're the prime example of, you know what you're supposed to do, and you've created something that is flourishing now, probably even more so than you ever imagined that it would.
Yes, it really is. It really is amazing. And every now and then I wake up, you know, the Talking Heads song, and I think, like, this is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife. Like, how did I get here? And it's just kind of amazing to look around and to just realize it's gone on for 16 years. I never imagined that this would last that long. I really thought this was going to be like, 6 months in, I am going to have my tail tucked, and, like, boy, will I have learned a lot, but, you know, a real, character building experience. It still has been a character building experience, as anyone who runs a small business knows. But yeah, just an incredible 16 years that, you know, hopefully will be many more to come.
Well, I think so too. You've created something very sweet and special here at Muddy's Bake Shop. I wanted to share with everyone that's listening that Kat and I have planned an exciting opportunity for you to get a behind-the-scenes look at Muddy's Bake Shop. It's your ticket to be a Memphis restaurant insider with the Daily Memphian. Do you want to share the news, or do you want me to share the news?
Oh, you share the news.
So I called Kat, and this is going to be the first of an event series that I plan to do, hopefully every month moving forward. And we have planned an exciting morning that's coming up that will be private tours with Kat herself of the bakery when the bakery is in operation. So you can see it, this kind of machine, and how it all works, and all your, do you still call your employees Nomies?
Oh yeah, we are the Nomies.
That the Nomies will all still be there and moving around. And then Kat is going to treat us to a cooking demonstration. And while we are watching her cook, we're going to get to enjoy a lovely brunch of her fabulous quiche. She's also going to make us a salad that's not on the menu, but she's going to make us something special. And if you love succotash, she has a succotash salad that she shared with us earlier this summer that is now up on dailymemphian.com. So I'm excited to see what she...
So y'all can trust me to make a salad.
Yes.
I don't just bake.
What goes on with that. And what are you going to be demoing for us?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about the demo. We're going to be doing a fruit shortcake. So I'm going to teach y'all how to make really lovely light drop biscuits. We're also going to be doing, I'm going to pick whatever fruit is in season. Peaches have been totally popping just lately, so there's a decent chance that this might be peach. But we're going to do a marinade. We're going to talk about how to prepare the fruits. You will get recipe packets. So everybody who attends is going to get every recipe that I'm demoing. So you can follow along with what I'm doing step by step. all the great information that you can need to go home and do it yourself. And of course, we will taste what we make.
I'm so excited about this. As I said, we talked about earlier, I've been to one of these cooking classes that she offers here. And I think it's going to be a really unique opportunity for us. For me in particular, not only am I excited about getting to try some of Kat's cooking and learn from it, but I'm excited to meet you, my readers and my listeners, and get to know the Daily Memphian community. I think it's going to be a really kind of exciting opportunity for us all to get together. If you want to know how to get a ticket, here is the scoop. If you subscribe to Table Talk, which is my weekly newsletter for the Daily Memphian, you'll be the first to know when the ticket sales go live. Head to thedailymemphian.com and look for Table Talk, which you can always find on the food page, or use our search feature on the upper left hand of the website for a link on how to get a ticket. So I have one question for you, Kat.
All right.
If you could only eat one thing here at Muddy's. I know, what's just your favorite baby? I know, worst question ever.
Jennifer,
what would it be?
I have to actually go with a Christmas item. It is probably my favorite thing that we make, and we only make it during the Christmas season. It's called the reindeer cake, and it is a gingerbread bundt cake with caramel icing. I love ginger so much. I love that spicy heat from the ginger with the sweet, sweet caramel. And that might have to be my pick. I'll change my mind tomorrow, but right now that is my pick.
I have to admit that I've had that cake before. It is really, really good. As I mentioned, I'm a chocolate girl, and I'll give you my favorite. I obviously eat Prozac cupcakes or some type of the chocolate cake with one of their icings, whether it's Tomboy.
I know,
or
like
the
also like,
Grasshopper,
but Capote. I can have Capote every day.
Yeah, with the
chocolate
cream
and
cheese
vanilla.
icing. But I also love the chocolate peanut butter bars.
So
I
delicious.
may be going home with one of those today. Those are kind of like my guilty pleasure. And aren't they, are they vegan?
They are vegan.
So they're healthy.
And they're flourless.
Oh,
they're
vegan?
like the thing.
It's health food.
To take, I mean, if I'm going places and, talking with groups or things like that, and they have ordered a cupcake platter, I will almost always grab a bag of those just in case, because I'm like, I know somebody in this group is going to need either flourless or vegan, and everybody loves them.
That's awesome. They're the best. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I am so excited to be back here on August 22nd with you for our special event that we will be hosting. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to meet with us.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm so excited.